So Sankya's philosophy. I really wanted to share this video about Sankya's philosophy because it's I think the first philosophy that any serious yoga practitioner or Ayurvedic practitioner or just student that is getting into it needs to understand in order to have a baseline foundation of the principles that all of these things are based on. Because Sankya's philosophy really lays out a baseline of what all of yoga is talking about and what it's talking in reference to, as well as Ayurveda. So I'm going to focus more on the yogic perspective, but they really blend together because Ayurveda uses Sankya's philosophy, yoga philosophy, Vedanta, Mimamsa, there's just a bunch of stuff that I'll get into later in another video that are really foundational for understanding just the consciousness in which we are referring to or how we are understanding consciousness in the first place. So Sankya's philosophy, the story goes, there was a unmanifest space, so avyakta is the Sanskrit word. And within that space, there is a cosmic Om, this sound, and you could correlate this to the Big Bang. And from that Big Bang, or this sudden flourishing forth of this consciousness, it then divided into two separate portions. There's Purusha, which is the masculine creative force, and Prakriti, which is the field of creation. And so through that field of creation, then this masculine energy then blossoms forth these things, these evolutes of consciousness, everything that evolves from consciousness. So it descends down further to Mahat, which is this universal mind, this great mind, that more, you might refer to it as a collective unconscious, unconscious, where this is a mind we're all connected to, and then we can tap into each other, and then we can feel each other through. That delineates further down into the buddhi, which is the individual consciousness, which you identify yourself as. So Mahat being Atman, the great soul, and then there's Jivatman, the individual manifest or individual born consciousness. And that is really what an individual is relating to. Like, my soul's purpose is my individual soul, my individual consciousness's purpose in this world. Then it divides further into Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. These are the three main Mahagunas, the great qualities that pervade all life and consciousness. So we've got Sattva, which is purity, clarity. It's very close to Purusha, which is that pure, penetrating essence of consciousness. So anything that is pure, clean, good, I'm going to 6 times air quotes this, good, right? Because these value judgments really dissolve when you get into more grander perspectives of what consciousness, life, spirituality, spirit, etc. is about. So Sattva, that purity, clarity. Then there's Rajas, which is the principle of movement, so that which, inspires new thoughts within you, inspires new action, inspires the tree to grow up out towards the sky, that movement quality. And there's Tamas, which is inertia, so darkness, dullness, heaviness, depression, the gross matter. This book is made of stuff. Tamas gives this book its ness, this heaviness quality. It's kind of light, it's hollow, but the matter in and of itself is made of tamas, and the molecules are moving because of rajas, and it is made up of pure consciousness, of course, also. So, but again, to refer back a little, this is a rough video, and it's all evolving from consciousness. So this vibration gave way to consciousness. and matter. And if you look with a electromagnetic microscope, you could see all matter is moving. Even solid molecules are moving. It's a vibration. So this delineates further down into the 5 great elements, Panchamahabhuta. So ether, air, fire, water, earth. And each of these govern a different type of energy. So ether is nuclear energy, air is electrical energy, fire is thermal energy, water is chemical energy, and earth is mechanical energy. These then govern the different sensory faculties. So hearing, touch, vision, taste, smell. Ether, air, fire, water, earth. Hearing, touch, vision, taste, smell. These govern sensory faculties. So, hearing, touch, vision, taste, smell. The elements govern the quality of space. So, like, the whole universe is made up of all of these 5 great elements, organic and inorganic matter. So there's a space within this room. Like, this room is containing space. I'm moving my hand through space. The air is a touch sensation that I'm feeling as I move my hand in the air. Vision, form is what's governed by fire. So my actual, the shape of my body is governed by fire, and then like also governed by Agni, or digestive fire, digestive capacity. Taste, you need water, liquidness, or liquidity in your mouth to taste things. So if you went to the bathroom, you licked the towel, and then tried to taste a piece of sugar, like a sugar cube, right? You wouldn't taste it at first. Saliva would have to be produced, get to it, cause the reaction, then you start tasting it. Smell. Smell, it's like when it rains, you can smell the earth. It's the most common example. So there's also these action faculties. So speaking, grasping, walking, procreation, elimination, ether, air, fire, water, earth. Speaking, grasping, walking, procreation, elimination. So the whole elimination is the earth element, right? Feces are made up of earth element, you could say. They possess different qualities, and those are more in the diagnostic perspectives of Ayurveda, where you would assess that and determine the quality of the food, the quality of the digestion, and understand more about the person. Different constitutions have a propensity, or they're more likely to produce a different or particular kind of elimination. And when high or low, you can use this as a diagnostic tool for the earth element, but really just their constitution. Water, procreation, the whole dance of sperm and ovum happens within liquid. It is contained in a liquid. The vessel of the uterus, it's all filled with liquid. Without that, they would all just dry up and die. Walking, the fire element, movement, that drive to go forward, fire element. Grasping, grabbing something, it's the air element, grabbing from thing to thing to thing. Your thoughts are grabbing item to item to item to item. When you think of something, your mind encompasses that thing. You embody it in this psychological experience, and you feel all these things. Speaking, the vibrations pass through space to get to the microphone of this cell phone that I'm recording on and communicate this information. And then aside from these things, the mind is there too. So the mind comes out of sattva, the senses, hearing, touch, vision, taste, smell, come out of sattva, the action faculties come out of sattva, the gross elements themselves come out of tamas, so ether, air, fire, water, earth. That's the matter. there's the faculties, and then Rajas is what does the movement between, the communication between these two things. So now we make the connection over to yoga. So in yoga practice, we are cultivating sattva. So meditation is sattvic, of sattva. Sattva's purity, clarity. It creates lightness. It burns away that dullness, that darkness. You know, people talk about blind spots in their awareness or consciousness, and that's tamas. So tamas is inertia. Like, it's, you don't have to do anything to accumulate tamas. And if you're doing nothing, you accumulate tamas. So being just totally inactive promotes more dullness. So it's one of those unfortunate situations if, you know, if you're dealing with depression, there's an accumulation of tamas already, and you're encouraged, or you feel like doing nothing is all you want to do, and doing nothing makes it worse. And all the things that will make it better are things you don't want to do. So it's uncomfortable. And that's, from my experience, that's just the name of the game. So Rajas is that mobile quality. So, you know, the entirety of yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. So yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. So chitta is the consciousness, vritti is the fluctuations, vacillations, nirodha, it's the, I interpret this two ways, and I don't think many people see it this way. So most interpretations, it's stopping the consciousness. But I've been playing with this other interpretation, or stopping those fluctuations, right? But I've been playing this one, ni roda, like roda is block, ni is like special, it's a modifier. It means a couple of things, but what if it were the unblocking of these fluctuations to allow them to expand out to their fullest extent, but then they then dissipate. Like when you follow your desires to the end, then you have the thing, and then sit there saying, okay, well, what next? What else? It's a completion of action. You know, you're completing the circle as opposed to leaving things unfinished, and it's this space of stillness that you end up in. You know, the sutras then go on to say, then this is the seer tada drashtahu svarupe avasthanam. So that then you see yourself as you are, or you dwell in your own true splendor, as the Iyengar translates. So you get to witness yourself as you are. So, you know, the judgments, the perceptions, the views, perspectives that you hold towards yourself or of yourself, saying, I am this, I am that, when you're able to get those things to still, quiet, get out of the way, or you realize through knowledge, because there's all these different paths to yoga. Jnana yoga, the yoga of knowledge, that's Raja Yoga, which is Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, which is what most people are talking about, but it's not the only kind of yoga. So stilling this consciousness happens with the help of sattva, which gives you this clarity to see. The pure self is sattva. I believe it was Krishna, shout out to Simon, this is one of his tidbits, Simon Chokoisky, who would always say, Krishna says, you know, you are sattva, and just cultivate that. So that's really the goal of all of these yogic practices, whether you're chanting, whether you're praying, you're meditating, you're doing asanas, you're reading scriptures, you're cultivating sattva. You're increasing that lightness, that purity, that Purusha quality, the creator quality of being. And Rajas is what's distracting you. It's got these thoughts, emotions, feelings bouncing back and forth that are begging for completion. And Tamas is, the what's stuck in you, what's not moving, what is fixed, rigid, and ways of being, deeply ingrained perspectives or habits that you can't get through, you can't seem to break through them at the moment. So this is really the language of yoga, which is elucidated or brought to light by Sankhya's philosophy, and is the general baseline of what we're going through or what we're seeing and experiencing. And it's really difficult to just pick one direction. I got really scattered in this video because all these things branch out to all these different ways of getting to this and getting to that. And it's just through jumping in the pool with a cannonball and starting to learn some of this stuff that it makes more sense as you get through it. So hopefully this gave some information, more clarity than confusion. And be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, follow, etc. Thanks.